Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Gargoyles episode reviews. And today we're looking at Awakening Part 4 continued. So without further ado, this half of episode 4 is about wrapping up Central Park and launching the clan on the mission to retake the discs. It's a transition period, but a very important one, as we meet a character who will play a critical role in every character's life from here on out. Reminder, I review as if this is my first time watching the show, but since the show has more callbacks and references than a recruiting agency, I have to talk about spoilers. There in the 2020 moments sections, behind the scenes info and additional details come from Greg Weisman's comments at Station 8's Ask Greg archives. They're called According to Greg here. Alright, so Bruno, the lead commando, voiced by Jeff Bennett, discovers what he thought was the wabbit, or Elisa, is actually her jacket. Not to worry, he meets her a second later as she jumps him. Coming at him head-on isn't the greatest idea since he's armed, armored, and just plain bigger and stronger than she is. Thus we end with her knocking the gun from his hand, then having him knocking her backward. And this picture is of Elisa trying to hold him against a rock with her hands on his wrists. Not really a good position for her. And the caption is, "Why were there no knee strikes used in the struggle? All Bruno would have had to do was bring his knee up." Bruno has the great idea of lunging at her. This is never a good idea when your opponent is expecting it. She does a hybrid Seonagi and Soto Momo Harai to toss him. Those are jujitsu throws. He forgets how to do a straight over, a proper jujitsu fall, instead splatting onto his back. Apparently the helmet doesn't do anything except save him from having to comb his hair in the morning because the landing knocks him out. There's a picture of her throwing him. That's actually a nicely animated throw. I guess that's what happens when you have Disney Japan animate the jujitsu arts. After taking out a whole team of commandos, she staggers back to sit with Stone Goliath all day. Luckily, this is her night off, as was last night, and it was, right? Speaking of work, one would think a police detective would have called in her buddies about all this commando nonsense. I don't care how much of a loner you are, not calling backup is just insane. She wouldn't have to mention Goliath. She wouldn't even have to hide him. He's Stone. She could have cuffed Bruno and arrested him. If he started talking about monsters, the cops would just think he was a nut. Seems to me you'd want to take some prisoners and question them. There's a beautiful picture of her sitting next to Stone Goliath. No loitering. She's also lucky that Central Park is in no man's land. It's not like hundreds of people go there every day. Nah. The first and, as far as we know, only person she runs into is Jogger Guy. He's surprised he's never seen that statue, Goliath, before. Oh, the things this guy will see. And there he is with his characteristic gray sweatsuit from the 90s and his I Love New York hat. 2020 moment. I love when stories/series use recurring non-player characters, NPCs. They give continuity and serve as an inside joke for longtime audience members. These characters also give a taste of how the citizen on the street, the average Gothamite, sees the world and the protagonists. We, the viewers, get so caught up with the protags and antags that we forget things like, it's not normal to see gargoyles flying over. Consider the Jogger Guys of fiction as our reality checks. Sunset Boulevard. We've got the sun shining between some buildings and the trees. That's just plain pretty. The sun sleeps, Goliath awakens. This is always impressive, so it's incredible for Elisa, who's never seen it. Here she learns what we already knew. Sleep heals minor wounds and conditions. Goliath is surprised and impressed that she stayed all day. He doesn't seem too shocked either that the commandos aren't still around. How did he think she dealt with him? Does he care? They agree to meet later that night. So tonight's your night off too, detective? Maybe her shifts are 8 hours? She doesn't seem any the worse for wear after being up all night and barely sleeping in the day. Here's her shaking hands with Goliath. Note the times Goliath shakes hands and with whom. So far, it's only been with Xanatos. Meanwhile, at the castle, the clan is getting nervous. Hudson reasons that they didn't survive this long for Goliath to die so soon. He's the wise one, but this doesn't make any sense. There are no laws about this sort of thing. You can die whenever your time's up. It would be ironic if he died now. Or maybe I've been watching too much Walking Dead. Here's a picture of Goliath returning and everyone quite happy. Nothing more relieving than seeing your loved one return safely. Goliath heads back to the castle. The clan is relieved to see him. He tells them the city is dangerous. Our camera angle suddenly becomes a CCTV angle. Xanatos and Owen are watching in Xanatos' office. It seems the cameras also have audio pickup because Xanatos tells Owen, "We're ready for him now, Owen." Or maybe he just figured it was time since Goliath was back after a night on the town. Not sure about you, but the phrase "we're ready for him now" doesn't seem to have a good connotation. Oh well, I suppose it could mean anything. Remember, I'm trying to read this as if I haven't watched it. Or write it as if I haven't watched it. There's a picture of Goliath on the monitor. So there's a camera right in the doorway, judging by the angle of that shot. There's Xanatos in his office with Owen. Epic interior design and layout. Heck of a view. I love that office. I love the scenes with these two. And there's an old CRT monitor on Xanatos' desk. It cracks me up. But I love the lighting there. It's like a spotlight on Xanatos. Meanwhile, Goliath calls Greybeard Hudson. The trio is eager to be with the in-crowd. They pick their own names, which is cheating. But they've done nothing but cheat since they woke up. Bread thieves. Beaky equals Brooklyn, Patrick is Broadway, Squirrel Boy is Lexington, Doggoyle is Bronx. Finally, at episode 4, we have names for all our protagonists. Never seen a show like this. It's refreshing. I love how fitting the names are, too. There's something satisfying about a name that fits its holder. Picking names when writing is simultaneously one of the most difficult and most rewarding parts of character creation. Owen materializes in the doorway. He clears his throat. This is his only line for the episode, but it's effective. There's one of the iconic pictures of Owen. Owen is one of the most intimidating yet professional people ever, in my opinion. You'll notice also that his eyes don't have pupils, which might add to that effect. Have I mentioned how much I love this guy? Let's slow down and give him some appreciation since he doesn't get much screen time in episode 4. From the moment we meet him, we're wondering what his story is. He's the right-hand man of a billionaire, meaning he probably does the work of 3 people and with more proficiency, too. Nice how the writers keep this realistic, rather than defaulting to what we expect to see, an incompetent as an assistant. He's not afraid to speak his mind, either, which is something his employer respects. Now he shares a castle in the clouds with a clan of mythological creatures. Not once does he act like this is outside the norm. In general, he seems to take everything in stride. What's his backstory? What's his life outside the office? What are his motives? According to Greg, writers didn't know Owen's backstory when they wrote these episodes, but Greg knew that it and Owen were very important. Reunion and revelation. Here's a picture of Xanatos leaning on the table and Goliath entering the Great Hall. But it's from the angle of as if the camera is sitting next to Goliath's right foot. So from that aspect, Xanatos looks very small. Now, that is creative camera angle. Nice. David and Goliath, indeed. In the Great Hall, a casual Xanatos meets Goliath and says there's something Goliath should meet. Someone he should meet. Out of a side door comes Goliath's second in command. It's not the huge surprise it could have been for us since we saw Xanatos speak to her earlier, but it's a monumental surprise for Goliath. Like an angel, the lights behind her. She's more than just happy to see Goliath again. You have to think what a blast Xanatos is having this whole time. Things are going according to plan. They reunite with a wing hug. Behind them, Xanatos is looking quite thoughtful. Xanatos mentions that he's very happy for them both, which is a lead-in. Goliath's girlfriend lays it out. They owe their reunion and their lives to David Xanatos. Oh look, we finally discover Xanatos' first name. The captain already cited the biblical story of David and Goliath, in case you forgot. David was the slayer of Goliath. David was a great warrior, and the greatest king Israel ever knew. Foreshadowing or irony? See what I mean about appropriate names? Win. She explains that she left the castle on that fateful night, meaning 1,000 years ago, when the Vikings attacked, but she got lost. Then the sun rose. When she returned, she found the clan destroyed and or turned to stone. Magus turned her to stone, just as he did Goliath. If you want to distract your male significant other, pet his face. There she is, petting his face. Santos takes up the story. He bought her as a stone gargoyle a year ago. After the clan woke up, he thought it was logical that a trip to the castle would have the same effect on her as it did on the others. So apparently he knew where she came from. Demona is very distracting here. In that picture, she's still in Goliath's arms as Xanatos does his little explanation. Well, it all seems very logical. 2020 moment. Timing is where Demona's story stands or falls. Demona flying after Goliath would mean she disobeyed a direct order. Seems legit for her. If she did it close to Mording, she could have ended like she said, and like Goliath and Hudson did, as stone before she could return. Getting lost gives her padding. Still, how believable is it that she got lost? This is the only place she's lived. I don't get lost in my own neighborhood. How far did the Vikings get from the castle when they made camp? How late was it when the clan found them? If it wasn't too far, and I doubt it was since they had to carry all the stuff and all the people, her story works, because the whole cluster could have taken only a few hours. She might have been out looking for them. Then she decided to go to the castle. Or if she was far, she might have gone directly to the castle. Assuming that took 2 hours, that could make her just miss Goliath at the castle. I think there was a day in between there. I'd have to check my timing, but either way, since days don't really count, the daylight portion, she still has a very tight window to make. And to say that she was somehow able to avoid Goliath and Hudson that whole time. I would imagine, if her story were true, her going to the castle, then tracking the Vikings out, and coming back to find Magus and Catherine loading the eggs. Since Goliath asked Magus to turn him to stone, it's logical to think Goliath would buy her doing the same. He didn't consider that he was shirking his duty by leaving the eggs, so he could hardly condemn her for doing the same. Goliath doesn't care much about the explanation. She's here, alive, and that's what matters. Now the clan is finally reunited. Goliath must be struggling with how to process this all. There, everyone is greeting her. Goliath and Red, the girlfriend, because her hair is red, go out to reunite with the clan. Cue happiness. 2020 moment. Demona is scheming this whole time, but this looks like a genuine happiness on her part. After 1,000 years of believing her clan is frozen in stone forever, she is reunited with them. They're hardly a day older than when she left them. Did she put any effort into trying to undo the spell when she first saw that they were stone at night? There's no indication in the city of stone that she did. Instead, her mind turned to vengeance. She became bestial. Right now, she believes her dreams of making the gargoyles the ruling species are about to come true. That's another reason for her to celebrate. She reiterates that they should help Xanatos. She calls it doing a favor for her. Sex appeal helps her. Goliath would swim the sea for her if she told him to. At the moment, he's probably feeling nothing but happiness and relief. Game on. Here we have a picture of everybody looking at the screen, and looks like the Fortress 1, the airship, is up there with some details pointed out. And the caption is, "Where's the handout?" Santos understands just how intelligent these creatures are. I like that he's not underestimating them. Yet, anyway. We transition to Xanatos' office, and its stylish lighting. You feel like you're looking at a stage when you see his desk. David is most definitely in the spotlight, as he should be. He's just finished a briefing on what he thinks are the strengths and weaknesses of each Cyberbiotics installation. There are 3 installations: a tower in the bay, an airship that flies the holding pattern around the city, and an underground facility that uses the old subway tunnels. What the actual heck is this James Bond stuff? Are they trying to blow up the San Andreas Fault, or the moon, maybe? Sorry, Cyberbiotics, but Xanatos Enterprises really deserves to put you down. Hey, Xanatos Enterprises, just sit back and wait for these wackos to blow their budget on airship fuel, ferry fees, and tunnel reinforcing. They're a robotics company. There is no conceivable reason why you have to fly around the city in a giant Shield-esque carrier. You are not transporting the Avengers. Why would NYC even allow that thing to fly around like that? What if it crashes? What about interfering with air traffic? There's also no reason to have a giant recreation of the Washington Monument in the middle of the bay. Just get an office building like everyone else. Santos says that only the Gargoyles' speed and strength can stand against the installation's defenses. In case you missed it, that's supposed to be an explanation for why he's not using humans on this job. I still say that if you can pay a man enough and he'll walk barefoot into hell, then you can pay a man enough and he'll steal some discs for you. The iconic Xanatos shot. There he is with his fingers interlaced, looking quite cunning under the spotlight. Everyone flies out while Xanatos looks on with a satisfied smile. This changes to a look of determination and expectation as they fly away. There he is looking out his window. He's got a lot on his mind right now. There are only about 1,000,000 things that could go wrong. He has to have a contingency plan for each. He's playing a dangerous game, and he knows it. He's not cocky, though. But dang, is he handsome. Goliath and Red hit the airship, the fortress. It takes a bit for them to negotiate the downwash of the rotors. I don't know why that's even possible. Just come at it from the top. Gliding versus turbines, no contest. Inside, they dispatch the guards. One of the cannon fodder is Vinny, the guy with the bike that the trio wrecked. Poor dude, we don't see it, but it looks like Goliath knocks him on the head. Unconscious, Vinny falls with his colleague. He has a really long nose in this drawing, too. Here they are with their little guns pointed at him. Guards, the hamburger meat of fiction. Are those Mausers in their hands that they're pointing? You can tell they are not really well trained. There's Vinny back there with a teacup grip on that weapon. Gosh, who did the design on those outfits? I would fire their fashion designer if I owned Cyberbiotics. Red hauls Vinny over to the door, ready to drop him. Goliath stops her. If she killed a defenseless foe, that would be murder. It is a pragmatic action, though. There she is dangling him over there. Love these little personality moments. And Goliath has her by the arm. Take a look at the guard's uniform. They're yellow and baby blue. Kill it. Kill it with a fire. Give me Xanatos Enterprises red and black any day. The uniforms and weapons don't resemble the commandos in any way. There's a picture of the tower in the bay. What exactly is this thing? We catch up with the trio. They're attacking the obelisk/tower in the bay. They make short work of the door on the roof, ripping it off its hinges. Inside, they take the elevator cable down the shaft. It's all going swimmingly. Then they open the door. A platoon of Cyberbiotics guards greets them. Rather, the guys' guns greet them. You're going to be late for dinner, boys. Here's the picture. Next time, explosions, the airship crashing, Elisa watching, robots that look like gargoyles, more explosions, Elisa and Red falling off the castle amid the debris of a parapet. Looks boring. Final thoughts. This half of the ep brings us where we need to be for the final ep of the 5-part set. A full cast of characters, dangers, villains, and a mission. It all feels like it's going well. Too well. The looks from some people, namely David and Demona, have been a bit different from what we expect. So, what did you think when you saw this ep the first time around? Did you trust everyone? What did you think of Cyberbiotics? Comment. You can do that here, or you can do that on the blog. Now we can jump to the next episode, the climax of the 5-parter. So you can read it, or you can listen to it, or do both. So always remember to like, subscribe, share, do all the things. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.